Welcome to BlackUSA.news morning show. I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real. Greetings and salutations, all my people out there in internet land. I am William Honolulu Jr., and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the host of the Black USA News Morning Show. Today is Tuesday, April 19th, 2022. Today is the first day of National Undergraduate Research Week. That's actually really important. Like, I remember one of the biggest senses of pride I got in undergrad is when I worked with one of my professors to do some original research through a TRIO program. Big up to the TRIO programs. If you all ever hear about the TRIO program, especially the Ronald McNair program, and they need funding, make sure you vote for that. But one of the biggest sources of pride in undergrad was when I got to present my research. I mean, it was really like this whole, it was a feeling of being like an academic grown-up. You know what I mean? Like, before I was doing the stuff, giving it to professors, but like they created this platform where I could show my research and people asked me questions about what I learned and stuff like that. And it was so amazing. So big up to all of you guys out there in undergrad doing research and really take the opportunity to recognize that doing research and going to school and learning isn't just for a job. Now, it absolutely should help you get a job. It should advance your career and stuff like that. But that's not the only reason to do it. And so take an opportunity when you learn how to do research. That's a skill set that will follow you for the rest of your life. I know our guest today and I were talking about some of those research skills that are necessary when you're going around doing big things academically. So this is a really great opportunity for you all who are in undergrad to really get help learning, or not even get help, but to practice how to do research so that you can be a lifelong learner. Don't hesitate to go to any of the resources on campus, student support services, any of the tutors or anything like that on campus, because it's yours. These are skills that will absolutely serve you throughout the rest of your life. So make sure that you go ahead and get that done and get that run. And big ups to my favorite undergrad, Timothy Honolulu, Zion down there in North Carolina A&T, doing big things, researching muons. Yeah, he does research on muons. I didn't even know what a muon was. I'm gonna tell you what. This is one of the cool parts about having a brilliant kid is that you learn stuff. One of the downsides about having a brilliant kid is I had to go get a Quantum Physics for Dummies book so I could have a conversation with him. But, it's whatever. I did learn some things, but oh, big ups to the super producer, Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan, and our assistant producer, Brandy Raymar. They are doing great things in the background to make sure that we are able to provide you all the quality content that you deserve. And you all know how it is. Nothing works without a team. So I am very grateful for my team. Black USA News is hosting a grant writing workshop. We realize that there are a lot of organizations out there who are doing big things, who are really changing the dynamics for the communities that they serve, but don't have the resources necessary to really make a difference or to really scale their organizations in a way that they want to. So we want to help people address that. We want to make sure that we are doing our part to support you in that endeavor. So for those of you all who are nonprofit organizations or who work with nonprofit organizations, or hell, even some for-profit organizations that are looking for new skill sets or opportunities to access other resources, please make sure that you come and hit us up. Also, there are contest tickets. You can win tickets to this. You don't have to pay. You can win tickets, and the link to winning tickets is in the description, or you could just come hit us up on Facebook or YouTube. And additionally, in an effort to support nonprofit organizations and those of you all in the community who are doing great things, we're doing a part of that series is how to start a nonprofit. Again, $25. It's April 23rd at 1 p.m. It's virtual. And there you can win tickets to those as well, because again, we have a lot of people in our community who are doing amazing things. And we just want to make sure that they have the resources and support that are necessary to really make a difference. So we are happy to participate and support that. Let's see, what else is there? I think it's time. You know how you like you make sure you like, so okay. I'm a half generation off of a farm. My parents are very Southern. So you had this rule that you had to eat all of the stuff off your plate, do all the regular stuff that you had to do first before you got dessert. See, so that's what I was just doing. I was getting all the stuff, the show notes, because y'all know I get show notes because I'm a wild one. I do this. Sometimes it just comes out and I don't know what to say, so I have to look at my show notes, and my show notes say, calm down. Finish your plate, because my people know me well enough to use analogies. They say finish your plate, talk about all the mandatory stuff, and then get to the dessert. And ladies and gentlemen, do we got dessert today, baby? Coming to you like a friend of the show, Miss Stacy. Hey, Stacy, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I am doing pretty well today. I'm actually quite excited because I get to have dessert for the next 50 so minutes. And it is for those of you who don't know, this is the first edition of our Titillating Tuesday. Titillating Tuesday.
I think we need an adult. Adult.
Oh no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. See, this is the funny part. See, I told you all I know dope people, and sometimes you all get to come in and join us for the conversations that normally we get told not to have in front of people. But I have show notes. So Horse said keep it lower, not that. So I have. You ready? You ready? This is the job I've been given. I've been given the job of being the adult in this conversation. So we'll see how.
I'm gonna need whoever gave you that job to reassess, because you and I together are bad enough.
Okay, wait. Show notes. Okay, show notes. So, Stacy, talk to the audience a little bit first about kind of your background and your experiences in human sexuality. I know, let's talk about the degrees, because we talked before when you were on the show about you having a son, so we know you had sex, so that makes you qualified to have at least portion of this conversation. So yes,
but just for a smidgen of a second, I want to shout out NIH, because they at Morgan State University did research. My son was a part of that research. They had a fantastic research program at Morgan for chemistry. And the funny thing was, my son was failing chemistry and decided to go for it. And he went to the interview and they said, "Sir, you're currently failing organic chemistry. Why would you want to do an NIH research in chemistry?" He said, "Because I'm failing. How else can I get better unless I study with a master?" You in?
Yo, that's game. That's game. Like that's pimp game right there. That's
what did you say? Because wait a minute.
Shut you know we're gonna have to do another show about kids. Wait, we're gonna have to do a show about kid stories. Oh my God. People
not only did they let him in, but my son is an author. He is a published author on research. And I was so proud of him. And all of a sudden, he started getting A's in chemistry. Organic, biochem. You passed biochem. I avoided biochem.
No, that's.
I avoided biochem. I was like, "Do you want to take biochem?"
Nah. Honestly, when I got to biochem, I straight up. When organic chem. OChem was supposed to be the next one. I went from a biochemistry and molecular biology major to a political science major.
It does that to you. It does that to you.
I was like, this is stupid anyway. I don't even like this. This is dumb.
Floored in all of those research qualities and the questions you should ask and the controls and the reasons why. He learned it there. And it gives you great, it improves your methodology. It improves your logic. It helps you it helps you find people who know the answers to questions, and it helps you do your own research, so you're not sitting here on Facebook spouting some completely inaccurate scientific stuff that you have made up because you dreamt of it last night. You know what I mean? So shout out to
I saw this
NIH and
formula
Morgan
in a
State.
vision.
Yeah, yeah. So if
Yo,
if
big
your
up.
kid wants to, and it doesn't even have to be scientific research. It could be social research.
Yep.
It could be, you could. I am a lot of what I do is based on social research, and so it doesn't have to be anything involving chemicals. And apparently, my son liked that type of stuff, and and but do it. It helps you. It helps grow your mind mentally. So shout out to the NIH chemistry program at Morgan State University.
And not just that. Shout out to Khalil, because like that's some people pay me money to teach them how to address situations like that. Like literally, they come to me and they're like, "All right, I have this situation." Like, well, have you tried to work harder or find somebody else? Oh man, I didn't even think about that. But like he from the inner, and again, I love coming from the deficit. And big ups to you too on being the mom that put it together, where he felt comfortable and confident enough as a Black man to stand up in a space and say like, "Oh no, I need help and I know where to get it." That so you know what, that's
Yeah,
so we're gonna do
He's
another
good.
show. We're gonna bring a bunch of kids on, and they're gonna talk with because
Yeah, that
we're
was
gonna just do that.
I had to write that one down. I was like, next time I go to an interview.
That's started. That's game on game. I'm like, okay, yeah, because yeah, I know I don't have a lot of experience, but
So how am I going to get better unless I study with a master?
that is fire. That's fire.
Okay, so thank you
Okay.
very much
Okay.
for
Yeah. Sorry.
letting me that.
Oh no, that's wonderful. I appreciate it. That's what we do here.
Now
All right. So
about me,
yeah, let's tell people about you.
My
Besides being an awesome mom.
my original degree was in biology, just like blanket biology. It was marine biology, and then I was like, I'm not getting my hair wet. I know it's petty. Because they wanted me to scuba dive.
Nah.
So,
so
quickly changed, and it wasn't until I decided to, I had a young son. I worked for the health department, the STD program. Needed a research data assistant, and I was like, I can do research data, and that's when I got involved with STDs and learning about them and how they're contracted and why they are contracted so frequently. And it wasn't just that. And so I had to understand STDs and how our society takes care of them. And so I got a master's in public health. And it was probably one of the best decisions I've made, because not only do I see it from the grassroots level in the clinic, I see it from the big level as far as funding and what as a society we're doing to combat it. I started working as a disease intervention specialist. And for people who do not know what that is an investigator, a public health investigator. And in my case, I investigated STDs. Every state in the union has a disease intervention specialist. You may not know it because they haven't knocked on your door yet, but they're there. And every time someone tests positive for gonorrhea, chlamydia, HIV, or syphilis, it gets sent to the health department by law. And the state has to figure out how you got it, because it's communicable.
Right.
And
now, let's. I just want people to be clear on something. When you say it gets reported to the state, it's not like a website we can go on and see like www.whogottgonorrhea.com.
Exactly.
Okay. No, it's not that, right?
It's not that.
Okay. So I don't got to worry about my doctor posting me or doxing me on Facebook because
if you have seen this woman, no, that's not it.
If you see me at your door, it's not for a party.
You're not in trouble or anything. It's just that because, like tuberculosis, because they're communicable,
Hmm.
And it costs a lot of money to treat, depending on what it is and how many
Hmm.
of them you have.
Yeah.
Um, it's followed, just
Hmm.
like Legionnaire's disease, just like
Hmm.
tuberculosis. It's a public health matter.
Right. And I think that's one of the big things that happens a lot of times when we start talking about sex and sexuality is that we treat it like it's something special because our genitals are involved. It's like, it's no longer just about we could be great friends, we could have this stuff, but once our genitals get involved, now it's something different.
Oh my
We
God.
can we can have, if I have whooping cough. Well, hell, COVID right now, it gets reported. But if our genitals touch while it's happening, oh my God, it's totally different.
You know what's funny? And that's exactly right. Because we have because it's sex. We have a very emotional connection to the act, no matter how
What?
gangster you think you are.
Well, no, I'm talking about
Very
like
emotional connection to it.
and I think
So
so. Oh, so you think the public health and the policies around it are driven by our emotional connection to sex?
no, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. That's why I was like, whoa, I never thought
I'm
about that.
saying the public. If I say,
Oh,
can you tell me everyone you've been in contact with because you had COVID? Let me tell you something. I was over there with Earl. I was over there with Grandma. Can you tell me everyone you've been in contact with because you had chlamydia? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh,
it's just been this one person ever in life. That's the
okay.
only person. If they don't
Okay.
have it, I don't know. The toilet
I don't
seat.
know what to tell you.
Yeah, the toilet
I
seat.
don't remember
Oh, I did go
nobody.
get my blood drawn. You could get it through like sharing needles, right?
Oh my God. If you tell someone, you have a cough because you were in they'll give you a list where they were, what they bought, where they were, how long they stayed in there. You tell someone, you've been in contact to a sexually transmitted disease is highly personal because sex is personal. Sex
Mm.
is very, very personal. And that's half the issues we have with combating the millions of cases of STDs in this country. Millions.
So,
Um,
no.
mm,
And so let's talk about how we got here. So sex is sex. I mean, like people have it. It is people have been having sex as long as there have been people.
mhm,
It is literally one of the most natural parts of
of being
our
human.
humanity. Yeah, one of the most natural parts. But we have taken it and put it in this really strange case. Except it's not a case. It is like one of those magic boxes. We put it in there. Oh, you know what? Okay, so a metaphor on the fly. Metaphor on the fly. I don't know how this is gonna work, but it's a metaphor on the fly. Okay, so it's like they had this case, but it's like a magician's box. So it's not real. So they put it in there. They close it. Look, I'm putting sexuality in the magic box, but there's a false bottom on it. So that then they go around screwing everybody in the behind the curtains. And then when it's time to come back, they put it in the box. Look, my sexuality is still here. It's preserved. Because one of the things that I found, and again, talking about how we got here, is that people don't necessarily want to do a certain. People don't necessarily their sexual identity. They want to be separate in many cases from their public identity. And sometimes those two identities don't even look like they know each other.
Oh my God. You want to, Lord, if I wrote down all of my cases when I was a DIS.
I'm glad you didn't, because that would freak me all the way out. Because I'd be like, oh, no. Oh, by the way, I'm not suggesting that my name was on the list, by the way, because I just realized how that sounded. Just suggested. Okay.
No, every culture gets to define what has defined what sex looks like. We all know what the Kama Sutra is. Thank you, subcontinent India. Um, the ukiyo-e prints in Japan dictate, everyday life of Japanese, and that includes who and how and where they had sex.
Mhm.
Every culture, every religion gets to define the box they put it in. Here's the
Mhm.
no matter no matter what culture or anything you're in, you're still human. And
Right.
so your hormones hit high drive at puberty, just like everybody else's, no matter what culture you come in.
Right.
Part
Your
of being
society
human.
does. It's kind of like we talk about with COVID right now. No
Yeah,
matter how much you don't want it, or no matter how much you think it's uncomfortable, COVID don't give a damn about you. Same way
exactly.
that sex doesn't care if you're Jewish, if you're Christian, if you're Buddhist, if you're atheist. When you get the tingle, you get the tingle.
It
Sorry.
just and it happens. And you're
Yeah.
right about people's public and private persona. There were a lot of people who I treated who was just like, I was like, mm-hmm. You know,
Right.
and it's fine. I am good, which is why I think I'm good at teaching sexual health education, because I don't care how you do it. It's as long as it's safe, sane, and consensual.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
don't care
Safe,
how you do
sane,
it.
and consensual. Okay,
I don't care how you
so what if you got 2 out of 3 of those? Is it still okay? Or does it depend which one you're missing?
sane and consensual. Certain
Those are
people of a
you have
certain
to have
age in
sane
this
and
country
does it
cannot
have to be
give consent. So
no,
no,
no, no. What if you have consent, but the sanity might be a little gone in some of the sexual practices? Is that still
it
okay?
don't make sense. It's not. You can. Yeah, it has to be sane.
No.
To be, it has to be sane. Damn it. um,
Oh, I might need to talk to you after
I'll
we get
give
off.
you a
I
perfect.
might need to talk to you after we get off this if it has to be sane. Some stuff I need to
I'll
tell
give you a perfect example of what may not look sane, but in actuality, it was. I had a case where husband and wife comes in, and the wife tests positive for syphilis. Okay, that's
you.
fine. So automatically, you look at the husband. You can
Hmm.
he was negative.
It had to
And I'm
come from
like,
somewhere.
so I'm like, now mind you, she was one of her tests came back absolutely normal. She had a schism in the test where she had the antibodies, but she didn't have the antigen. So
Mm.
she, it looked like she was exposed at some point in her life, but I couldn't even call this an active infection. So
Okay.
and I told her that, and I was like, honestly, I don't really think you have it. I think there's an antibody trace, but this isn't even an active infection. And I
Hmm.
said, and so I have to ask you, because it's my job, about your sexual partners. I see that you're married. She's like, oh, no, no, no. We've got 8 partners. We? She was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She says, we are a multi um
Polyamorous.
polyamorous family, and sure enough, she brings in the rest of the tribe the next day, and they're sitting there, and I'm like, this is not sane, but it actually was, because they were like, yeah, are you going to do dinner tonight? Okay, no, it's fine. Yeah, I'll take the trash out later. But they were and what did not look sane to me was actually very sane to them. They all came, they got tested. They were all very open and honest about their sex life. And I was like, I can say nothing, because
Right.
you are all open, you are all honest, you are honest with each other about what it is that y'all do. Everybody was negative. I couldn't even say anything. I was like, have a good day.
That reminds me of a story. I had a friend, well, two friends. We all got together, and one of the friends disclosed that he and his wife were swingers, that they engaged in this lifestyle. And so he was telling us about it and things like that. And then, he left to go, and the other guy and I were sitting there, and the other guy was like, "Yo, I never thought he'd do that. Like, I thought he was a real man. How you gonna be a real man and let somebody else sleep with your wife? Blah blah blah." And I said, "Let's do this right here. One, I know you're cheating on your wife because you have told her that I was your alibi at times. And we're all fairly comfortable that your wife has stepped out on you at least once. You are miserable at home. You all are swingers who are miserable and lying to each other about it. Like they
Yeah.
have, and they had, they're still married.
Mhm.
I don't know, if they're still doing that, but like they're still married. Neither one of me and the other guy, neither one of us are still married.
Yeah. So this family is actually very happy. This group is of people, and I was just like, go with God. Now, I had another story where it was not safe, sane, and consensual. I had and I guess we'll talk about this later. But y'all keep thinking grandma and grandpa ain't
Oh no,
hit
let's talk about that now. They need to understand that because
the
I'm
LG.
getting a little older, so I need people to understand what's coming.
Let me
So
tell you something. Cialis and Viagra, you know, total praise. Um, client was 80 and had syphilis. And I'm like, what you doing with syphilis? You know what I mean? And so of course,
Mr. Earl, why you got syphilis for, Mr. Earl?
do it. Now, to be honest, this 80-year-old looked more like 60. I was like,
He's black, white, and cracking.
No, he was a white man.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
He looked good.
No matter where you are, when you can shave 20 years off, that's you
He
are doing
looked
well.
amazing.
Yeah.
Tall, he looked fantastic.
Uh-huh.
So of course, I have to ask him because he had an infectious case of syphilis, like he just I ask everybody, how many partners have you had in the last 30 days? And he was like, it took me 15 seconds of his silence to realize this man was counting. Wait, I can't decent date. You are counting? I said, sir, I'm counting. He said, yeah, give me a second. And then he says, 30. You had 30? You had 30 individual partners. Not like these people. He said, no, they were the same. They were different. They were different guys. And so I sat there and I was like,
okay, all right, okay, all right, okay, all right.
And I had to think and I had to check my reaction because this man is 80, which means back in the time when he was in his 20s, it wasn't cool for him to be who he was. So I had to check my face because usually if I don't say it,
be on your face.
This forehead, it'll ticker tape, just like the Macy's Day Parade. So I had to check and I had to be like, sir, I get it. I like women too. Oh my God. Sorry, Daddy. Sorry, that was my father.
Oh, hey, Dad.
I said, sir, this is not, I understand it, but it's not safe for you. You're 80. Health-wise, this is not safe. To have that many people in that short a period of time is not exactly safe because you don't know their health history.
Well, what if?
And that's all I'm going to say. And I said, all I'm going to ask you to do is to come see me every 3 months for a checkup because your partner load is so heavy. And I'm going to ask you to wear condoms with all of these partners because you don't exactly know their health history. And he said,
especially because you came back and because you popped positive.
And you're positive. So I said, so I'm going to give you these condoms. I didn't chastise him or anything because I understood why in this day and age he looked good and he wilded out. And I'm like, okay. But I need
you know what else too?
To be healthy.
I just thought about it because like at 80, you ain't going to nobody's job. What else do you have to do all day?
This man still worked.
Yo,
when I tell you,
I'm sorry. So like, damn, like he is all of the Superman. Like, okay, you know what?
When I tell you, I look at him, I was like,
actually, you know what? Because again, 80, looking 60.
Like, wait a minute. And now I was sitting here thinking, this man is not interested in none of my plumbing. Don't mean
like even on your best day, you wasn't.
But I don't even care because I'm looking good. And that's why he was pulling 30 partners a month. And I was sitting here, I was like, I can't get a solid date. This man has got
well, because also we're gonna make it, and actually this is a good segue into the difference between looking for a date and having 30 partners.
Exactly. But like I'm just saying that these are everything that this is that I've discussed so far is a result of our culture.
Yes.
In the United States, where we don't want nobody to have sex until marriage, but we will use it to sell you a car, hell, a toothpaste, deodorant, whatever.
A beer.
Exactly. So, and where all the kids have smartphones. You know, if I can get Pornhub on my smartphone, best believe little Timmy can too. So
I'm so glad I didn't have a smartphone when I was in high school.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Right around the time I hit puberty.
Oh, I understand why test scores go down. You got a
No,
cell phone.
no. In my day, Benny Hill was as much as I could
Woo!
get.
Wait, watch this. Cinemax at the end, watching between the little blurry lines.
What? At night? What?
Wait till everybody go to sleep. And, oh, you can see, look, right here.
Right. No. No, these kids have got it in like full
Oh yeah,
video. So this is all about our culture and the issues that we're having. And it's not just STDs. It is
right.
Is about the ability to even learn about what is evidence-based, science-backed, good sexual health. And depending on what state you're in, it looks different.
Yeah. I didn't realize how much variation there was. Hell, actually, not even states. In Maryland, public health in Baltimore City looks vastly different than public health down in Charles County.
Because the state has allowed each school board to dictate
health department.
The school board and the health department are to work together.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, got it.
Are to work together.
Got it.
The school board can take the mandates and go, don't want
yeah. And they're really quick to do that.
And what's even more frustrating is that there's no data. I called the Baltimore City school system and I said, okay, so you teach sexual health. Where's your data on what these kids learned? And the guy was like, oh, that's cute. Like, you get funding to what federal program gives funding but does not require data about how
one's about sex, kids and sex? Nobody wants to talk about. Hell, Florida ain't even. Florida's banned. Did you hear they banned 48% of math or 48 math books because critical race theory and how you can't say any sexual thing in this new Florida law or whatever?
No, Florida makes my head hurt. But but here's the thing: it doesn't stop kids from having it. And what I got as a DIS is, I got really, really tired of seeing the same people. And this is, across the wide age span. I got tired of seeing the same people, the same infections, saying that they had sex with the same people all the time. And I was like, did anyone ever tell you how your body worked? Or it's okay to say no, or to put on a condom? And they're like, not really. And I was like, who raised you? Because it wasn't my household. My daddy wasn't having it, but then again, me and my sister.
Your dad isn't everybody's dad. Let's not even do that. Your dad is not everybody's dad.
It's true, because we were raised by my father. I get it, but my father was extremely blunt about it, because he wanted us to be warned, but he also didn't want us to have kids early. And fast forward years later, my kid is his only grandchild. The other two were like,
no, we saw that. We're not gonna do that.
So I decided to create a sexual health program that did not go on anyone's religion, because how many times in my health department have I seen an imam sit across from a Hasidic Jew? And I'm like, and both of y'all married, aren't you? Okay, it's fine. And how many times have, I've had to go because, pastor was a contact.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine.
Like I said, one of the points you made earlier kind of comes back up. They are people. Like we try to pretend that once you have this role, you stop being people. And that causes a lot of these people to behave in these ways that lead to the spread of these diseases. Because I can't be honest, because it had to just happen. If I'm a closeted dude, it can't just be like, hey, I'm coming to get some. It's like, oh, we were just hanging out and it just happened. So there's no condoms, because if I brought condoms, that's premeditated. I'm thinking in advance. And so the stigma around sex and sexual activity forces these people that you're talking about into hiding.
Exactly. And then once again, that's a cultural thing. We have to change this culture, because at a certain point, I got tired of giving 15 and 16-year-olds HIV positive results. They should be getting ready for prom, not Truvada. And so you have to do something, even if, society is like, I don't want my kid to learn that. Well, if they're not learning it from you, who are they learning it from?
They're going to learn it.
They're going to learn it. And every time I teach my sex ed class, the kids are dying to have someone to talk to. It's the adults just that are usually like, and I'm like, what are you for? Because this kid, I'll give you a perfect example. In the state of Maryland, your parents have the ability to opt you out of the sex ed class. If they don't want you to have it, write a letter
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
pulled out. You know I didn't, because I've been teaching my son sex ed since he was 6.
Yeah.
By the time he got to Morgan and I came to his dorm with 2,000 condoms, I was like, look, if I have to make a business trip to this campus for you, I will embarrass your soul. I will embarrass your whole soul. Because by this time he could tell me the signs and symptoms of all the diseases, because I've hammered it into him since
Right.
he's young. So this was high school. This was middle school. This was middle
Okay.
school. And I sat there and my son, and I'm sitting in the classroom like this because I'm all the jacked up information that they're getting. What was this, 8th grade? This was 8th grade. So these kids were about to go to high school. And these 2 girls raise their hand and tell the teacher that they're basically having sex together. And so I'm like,
Okay, what you gonna do?
looking at the teacher like, and somebody goes, okay, well, we'll discuss that later. We're going to talk about, sexual harassment. And I'm like, by this
The
time, my
learning, the
son has
teachable
seen my
moment, like
face.
right there, like that's a moment right there.
By this time, my son has seen my face and he is dying in the classroom because he knows what I do. He's probably told his friends what I do because now they're all looking at me like,
You gonna let that go? You gonna let that go?
and I'm like, and so I go up to the teacher after the class and I said, excuse me, those 2 girls, like together. You're not gonna say nothing. They act, and he says, well, we can't. And I said, and so I told him what I did. And I said, I go to people's homes, I go to schools, and I pull these people out who have contracted or suspected of having contracted an STD. These 2 girls did the bravest thing I've ever seen, which is in a room full of assholes. Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. You don't get fined. I do. It's fine. Go do you. It makes me feel better when somebody's doing it.
In a room, because if middle schoolers,
oh, they're by definition, like their brains work like
okay?
that. That's
In a
just what
room
they
full
are.
of jerks, they admitted that they were having sex, and the only adult in the room ignored them. What are the odds that they're going to come tell you when something is wrong? What are the odds that they're going to find another adult to talk to? Because the one they asked in a dangerous situation ignored them.
Mm-hmm.
I said, let me tell you what's going to happen. They're going to have me showing up at their door in the next couple of years. And hopefully I can get rid of it.
Well, let's talk about.
He was like, I'm sorry, but the school board says, we can't address it.
He had literally nothing to do if he wanted to keep his license.
Right.
But let's talk a little bit about the associated kind of stigmas that go along with the taboo nature of sex with not with children, but among children. Because, I remember looking at the data and what a lot of people, and again, when I was working for the state in public health, things that I learned that I really didn't know. Grown man with 2 kids by that time. And I didn't realize the things like if you get gonorrhea repeatedly, that you are now more susceptible to HIV. And so all of the stigma that's around all of like HIV and people linking it to lifestyle choices and risks and morality, it is this, to me, it is this type of stigma around sex and sexuality that kind of perpetuates a lot of the risky behaviors.
Okay, let me just say this.
Okay.
You and I are the same age, and we remember when HIV didn't have a name.
Grid. I remember when it's grids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We remember back in 81, 82, where this thing didn't have a name, and that people who were, 300 pounds last month was like $1.25 this month, and they got these lesions on their face and their back. and everybody was terrified.
Yeah.
Terrified.
She was just like when
And
COVID first hit, just like that. Well, no, it was worse than that. Let me
but
take that
even
back. It was worse
worse.
than that. Yeah,
But
yeah, it was
even
worse than
worse,
that. Yeah,
because
it was
in this
worse.
point, in this case, there's no more Studio 54. There's no what's going on? There's no more Studio 54 action because this thing is killing people.
Yeah.
And it was affecting a particular community.
Yep.
It was affecting our gay community. And so if you saw anybody who was all of a sudden sick and wasting, they may not have said it, but you gay. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you got this disease that only seems
Gay
to
people
affect
can get.
gay
Yeah.
people. And then we got the Let's Talk About Sex. We got the gay community came out with these ad campaigns, get treated, get tested,
yeah.
and safe sex, condoms all around. Fast forwards to today. I personally believe the stigma is not as bad because you don't have the fear that we had when we were younger. You don't, because we have a pill. One pill, not AZT, a cocktail of basically poison. Please don't throw up and diarrhea at the same time. And that's basically what AZT was. AZT was just like throw this.
And let's hope we can help you live a little bit longer.
Exactly. Now we have a pill. And the condom use is not as widely spread. The wear condoms. It's not as widely displayed in our public health media.
So in any media form.
Not as much as it was because people are living with HIV. You know what I mean? They're not dying from it anymore. They're living with HIV. Because the drugs that we have developed are doing exactly what we asked it to do, which is to keep that virus at bay for as long as possible. And it's doing it. Not only that, now we have PEP and PrEP. We have pre-exposure prophylaxis. So if you have
what does that mean? That's a lot of fancy science words. Don't they just be throwing fancy science words on the show and you're not going to explain them? Explain it.
Pre-exposure prophylaxis. So it is a HIV pill. It is a pill that you take. So if you are in a relationship with someone who has HIV and you are not, you take this pill, and as long as they are undetectable, it prevents you from contracting it. So it is like a contract between you and your partner. It prevents you from contracting the virus. It is amazing. I highly suggest it, even if you're not in a relationship. If you have, partners, my 80-year-old, I suggest you get on PrEP. Take it.
If you engage in the risky behaviors,
you're engaging in a behavior that makes it more likely that it will come your way.
Right.
So and it is amazing how far we have come and how far we're going. I believe that there's a study. I believe there's a study going out where you don't have to take a pill a day. They're giving people shots once a month. I haven't brought up anything on that yet, so I have to check on it. But that's what they were testing out. It's fantastic how far we have come. So the stigma is not what it once was.
Right. Okay.
Where people were just like, I don't want to drink after you. I don't want to use the toilet after you. It's not.
Yeah, no, that used to be a big thing. Or watch this, eat near you.
I don't want to eat. I want to breathe near you.
Yeah, like, can we share the same? Like, what if I pick up the can I sit next to you? Is it like, will it jump on me? Like, what if you sneeze?
Exactly. And I'll give you one further. We had doctors call into the health department because someone came in and they actually had AIDS and their immune system was tanked and they had Kaposi sarcoma. Doctors didn't know what it was. They were like, do you know what it is? And we were like, you don't, because you haven't seen it, because we have all these drugs now. You've never seen it when it was like it was in the 80s, where people were just walking around.
Yeah, that was, it
just opportunistic infections, right?
Yeah.
So the stigmas that we have are not as bad. However, the ignorance is still there. And when I mean ignorance, when I go into the classrooms and I do a pre-test before I get into my thing, because I want to see what they know. And I was like, what are the signs and symptoms of gonorrhea? How do you know if something's wrong? Just give me one. They burn it. What does that mean? And they can't tell me. So if they do get into a situation where someone has, yellow and green discharge, they're gonna put their mouths on it because that's what's happened. They just really excited to see me, baby. Nobody's excited. Their body fluids turn color. Come here for a second. Sit down. Baby, sit. Who told you that? Who told you that? And in the absence of real information, kids make up stuff. My son actually came home and said, "Ma, can you tell me about gonorrhea for herpes?" You grounded. You know damn well that's not real. You just mashed up 3 infections and you grounded. I don't even want to see you right now. Go up into your room. I'm about to bring you this Grey's Anatomy book, and you about to read it. It was so in the absence of real information, kids go to each other, which is as uninformed as they are, and they're too afraid to go to an adult because they also want them to have sex. But you also we're not doing a good job of informing them about what naturally happens to their bodies. And I was just reading some really great research on Black girls that if you instill in them a sense of confidence in who they are, they're less likely to initiate sex early. They're less likely to initiate sex early. And when I mean early, understand that the health department in Baltimore City takes them 12 and up. What were you doing at 12? I was still rocking my easy bake oven at 12. I'm not, I was making them cakes like a big dog. Being in between some boys pants wasn't
part of your plan at the time.
But that's
that wasn't part of your plan at the time.
Not at the time.
Yeah,
a couple of years. Anyway, but not at that time.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not doing a good job of that, of instilling a sense of self in them. Not saying don't, because I know every time my daddy said don't, I was like,
maybe. I wasn't even thinking about it for real, but now that you said don't, maybe I should.
So just tell them why and give them the information. And every time that I've taught my class, they're like, "Is that it? That's what they were hiding?" I was like, "Yep." Now you have to have a sense of self. I'm not saying that, you're 14, 15, 16. Hormones are all over the place. All over the place. I'm 49. My hormones are still haven't, dependent. I just know how to control them better now. They have no sense of control.
Well, not just control. Let's not pretend that it's control. We know how to give them outlet appropriately in a social context. That's the difference. Because I'm about 50 myself, and I don't control shit up in here. So it'd be like, this is what we're doing again. Oh, I mean, okay, all right. This is my body at this point tells me what we're doing. Like, it's like, well, let's talk about how now I sound like a transformer when I wake up in the morning, everything cracking and cricking.
It's true though, my kneecap. But
sorry.
So I'm hoping that slowly society changes, our culture changes. Our culture changes to allow room to address how much our young people are being exposed to, and those young people grow into more responsible adults. And that's the point. And so I don't have to come back at the aging center where I just dropped off 2,000 condoms and they're gone. And now Miss Molly got, she got discharged because no one
explained to her.
Miss Molly, you're 70. Why you got chlamydia? I mean, it is real. You check on your grandparents. It's real.
And here's the other part too. One of the challenges with parents and grandparents at this point is that even we talk about how substandard the information that children get now is. There wasn't even this information for them. For them, the reason that you use the condom is that you didn't want to get pregnant. They haven't worried about that for 20, 30 years.
Exactly.
So they're like, okay, I don't get it. And also some of them, they're not going to get checked up because of the way that they were raised. One, they don't believe themselves to be at risk. That's for dirty people. I mean, granted, I have 4 partners in this building, but I'm not one of those dirty people that sleeps with everyone. I know them.
It's not even them. Research has shown that their providers are not asking them the question either, because they figure they're out of the time where they're sexually active. That has been proven.
Yeah,
That
that's
providers do not have that conversation, because you're looking at a 68-year-old man. There's no way this man is sexually active. Au contraire.
Oh yeah, they beat it up. They beat it up.
I was like, what do you think he's doing with that blue pill? Sir, get your life. This man is, like I said, once again, he's got more dates than I do. So it is imperative that we have that conversation with our providers. I'm sexually active. What? You're 70 and I'm sexually active.
And so also I want to say something about, because I'm glad that you bring up the providers, and because one of the things, again, I believe that a lot of this has to do with agency, understanding what your body does, one, and what services and things you can get to support your health and stuff like that. And a great story is that I was maybe in my late 20s, early 30s, and I went to my doctor. He was from a different race, and I think some of it was was cultural as well. And so he doing my annual physical or whatever, and he says, "Oh, it recommends I give you." And also, I worked at the health department anyway. I think I must have been working in the health department, because I thought this was odd, and I remember. Yes, I did, because I brought it up at work. And he said, it says, given your age, I should do a STD panel, but you're married, right? Do I need to do an STD panel? Do I need to do one on you? Because you're married, right? Most of the time when people are married, that's, and like the whole, and I'm not exaggerating, the whole leaning in, like, right? And I was like, nah, dude. And they honest, I did work in public health, and I worked at the place called the AIDS Administration.
Yeah.
And he did, and real talk, I was like, well, not, because in my mind, I made up a lot. I'll just get one at the health department later, because I mean, I work there, so but his behavior, all of the judgment in it, and then when I tell the story, I'm like, you didn't know my wife. She could have been scandalous.
And I had several cases of that, where one spouse was just like out the pocket, and then I had to go and talk to the other spouse and be like, yeah, can I talk to you? And it happened. But once again, we have to change our culture, because the culture in medicine allowed him. He said it was okay to do that, and here he is. He basically shut down his patient, and he didn't get any of the information he was supposed to get about his patient's overall health behind his own judgment. Bye and goodbye. First story I had was about a polyamorous family, and he was like, yeah, they're married and they're happy, and they also happen to have more than one partner besides each other.
Exactly. And because, and I'm grateful, because I worked in public health, because of friends like you, I recognize the importance of it. But I think if I wasn't me and didn't have those resources, well, if there is something coming out, then I'll go somewhere. Like, I'm not damn sure not going to my primary care. So again, that level of judgment, that stigma about what you should be doing in your world, now will force me into hiding. If let's say I was cheating and all that stuff, now I can't even talk to my doctor about it.
Now this was you as a heterosexual male. Think of all of the people in our LGBT community who cannot be absolute. I went to to the AIDS conference, the HIV/AIDS conference a couple years ago, and there was a really, really good seminar on LGBTQ focused care, and there was a clinic that did nothing but care for that community. It was fantastic to learn all of the things that they provided this community. And the people that went there felt safe, they felt seen, and all of their medical care was addressed in a non-judgmental manner, because chances are their providers were also LGBTQ. You know what I mean? So it was fantastic. Um, you, as a heterosexual male who was married, felt that way to your doctor. Who knows how many people who were not heterosexual that man turned off. And so our culture also has to address that among providers. You're gonna have to check yourself. And I've had, like I said, my thoughts and feelings tend to ticker tape across my forehead, even if it doesn't come out my mouth. So sometimes I have to fix my face like,
oh, Stacey, do you see the time?
No. What we talking about?
We're almost at an hour, y'all. Yo.
I'm not even done.
Well, the cool part is that this is Titillating Tuesdays with an S on it. So we're going to just keep the conversation going every Tuesday. Like, yo, the time, I didn't even see, like, wow, like, this is a great conversation because, and honestly, we didn't even really get deep into, like, agency, like sexual agency. What does that even look like? Because I know even at our age, I have friends who, like, when they talk about their relationships or sexual engagements, it's like, well, why did you do that? Well, I didn't want to. You didn't want to, but you did it anyway. Well, yeah, because no, like, it's yours.
It's part of the course that I teach young people, and when if I'm ever invited back, we will absolutely talk about that. Because
wait, are you talking about here? Invited back here?
Yes.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize. Maybe you didn't understand the whole thing. You are Titillating Tuesdays. Like, this is what we do now. Y'all, you see what happens? I'm not a good communicator. I need show notes from behind the scenes. This is why I should not be handling. This is why so now, okay, this is the blooper reel, because this is what you all see. This is why Crazy Horse and Brandy handle this kind of stuff. Because whenever I handle it, like, I thought we was good for like a whole season. And she's like, well, if I come back next week, wait, what happened? I have you on the list. Like, what are we doing? Oh God. So wait, are we good for next week? Because if we're not, I need to. Okay. Oh,
absolutely. My bad. I wasn't picking up what you were putting down.
Okay, I gotta. This is, you know what? Thank you for just reminding. I need to be out of these things. Like, I'm a good host and I'm a good strategic planner. This whole logistics thing, clearly. Oh my God, I'd have been sitting here next Tuesday like, where is Stacey? I don't know where Stacey is. We're supposed to be titillating people.
Crazy. But it's good because this conversation opened up to a whole bunch of topics, I'm quite sure. Well, usually people, hit me up in my DMs being like, by the way. And I'm like,
oh, yes. So that's it. No. Because we only got a little bit more time. Tell people how they can get in contact with you, because, again, you have a really great curricula and process that really helps people focus and really get beyond some of these social barriers so they can get real good education about sexual health, sexual practices, and sexual. You know what? Am I doing a commercial for you? I apologize. I love what you do. So, like, yeah, tell them about this and tell them about that.
They can get in touch with me. I'm on Facebook as Five Pearls, FIVEPEARLZ, as in zebra. Shout out to the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta sorority.
Big up Zeta Phi Beta.
They can get in touch with me there. My Twitter is also at Five Pearls, but I'll be changing it to Whispers in My Ears, which is the name of my comprehensive sexual health education business.
Oh,
so that they'll be able to find me there.
So watch this, and also we're going to make sure you start trending with the Titillating Tuesdays hashtag as well.
Tuesdays.
Yeah. So, but make sure that you all reach out and in a couple of whenever you're ready, we can even do like kind of an infomercial for the sexual health curriculum, because again, it makes sense, and this is stuff people need to know. Even some of the jewels you just dropped today about sexual health and working with youth and stuff like that could inform parents and help change the dynamic of how they engage. Exactly. Like I know people like you, my baby sister, Dr. Nicolette Lewis-Saint, like it is because of you all that I'm comfortable that I don't have kids right now. I mean, not kids, grandkids right now. because I
Right.
do have kids. I don't have
Right. Right.
grandkids.
Right.
And I am more comfortable about their operations as grown men and their sexual health because of exposure to people like you all,
Oh,
because you all
shit.
have said these things, because they have seen you all advocate for them and read your papers and stuff like that. Like it changes the dynamic, and I think we have a great opportunity to continue to do that.
That's fantastic. I cannot wait to come back and see.
Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna try not to get another one. I'm gonna get a little bit of fine because I'm about to go over a little bit, but it's okay because my show is my and I'm the general manager now, so I have to find myself. That's gonna be awkward. That's gonna be awkward as hell. I just realized that's a problem now. It was okay when somebody else was doing it, like, oh, you know what? That's now it's like, no, I gotta push the button myself. Oh. It feels different. I gotta be honest. I never really thought about it, but this is gonna feel different. Titillating Tuesdays. You all will get an opportunity to see Miss Dennis come back next Tuesday. Where we titillate you all the time.
Somebody please sign up to be this man. Adult in the room.
We need a new adult in the room.
Adult.
All right, love. I will see you next Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
All right, babe. Bye. Oh, we had a great time today. Did you all have a great time? I told you all I know dope people, didn't I? I don't even think you all. And again, this was an orientation for y'all. Y'all saw last month at the month of Black women, and she gave you a little perspective on that. But we about to titillate you all for a long time. So, and I don't know if you noticed, I like saying the word titillate. Anyway, all right, sorry. Thank you, Stacy, and guys, thank you guys so much for being here and joining us and really having a great time learning and all that other good stuff. We will be Black tomorrow.